Welcome to the City of Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment meeting for January 7th, 2021, which is now called to order. We ask that you silence your cell phones if you have not already. Just some preliminary instructions on safety. We ask that you kind of work with us here today on some of these COVID guidelines so that we can continue having these meetings in person. That includes keeping your mask on even while you're speaking. And hopefully you've sanitized your hands and everything before you've come in. And if you're feeling sick, for goodness sakes, you shouldn't be here right now. But if you do, feel free to step outside. We'll move your matter to the end of the docket, and then we can address it at that point. Hopefully you've signed up to speak already with the city staff. If you're not the applicant, there are white cards outside that you can sign up. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. And please don't interrupt the board members while they're speaking. That keeps the process moving much more quickly. With that said, first item on the agenda is to receive the minutes of the December 3rd, 2020 meeting. Are there any comments, changes, or a motion?
Make the motion to receive the minutes.
Do we have a second? Okay. Got a motion and a second to receive the minutes from December 3rd, 2020. Once you're able to, cast your votes. For those who haven't been here for these, sometimes there's an awkward silence on the system while it processes. But the motion is approved, the minutes are received. The next item on the agenda is continuance requests or withdrawals. I believe we have a couple.
Item number 6, case number 14782, that has been deferred till February 4th, 2021.
Is there anyone here that was hoping to speak on that matter? Okay. Hearing none, I think we can take a motion to continue as requested.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to continue the item to February 4th, 2021 as requested. Cast your votes, please. And it's approved. Next item on the agenda is the consent docket. We have nothing on the consent docket, so we'll move to items requiring a separate vote.
Case number 1, case number 14811, request of KB Investment Company, LLC, for a variance to parking regulations in the C3 Community Commercial District.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant, which is Mr. Clay Farha, who is also here with us. Here we have a variance application to the parking requirements. We have an existing building that is currently operating. There are a handful of users. The one user that has really caused this issue is Scooter's Coffee. This is a bit of a unique concept for Scooter's Coffee. You've probably seen these Scooter's Coffees pop up all over the city. To my knowledge, this is the only Scooter's Coffee that has seating inside. The reason they have seating inside is because that is the space that was offered to them by Mr. Farha. They didn't seek to have space because 90 or 95% of their revenue is generated by drive-through. You could go there probably any time of day and you will not see a single person within the facility sitting enjoying the coffee. And so because of the nature of that use, it is requiring us to have an amount of parking to accommodate the idea that all of those spaces would be full with people enjoying their coffee, which just isn't simply realized. And so we're seeking a variance. We think it's a modest variance of only 5. Because what has really happened now is we are prohibited from using the balance of the building because of the parking requirement. So we think that the parking count, the way it works with a drive-through coffee shop, is frankly excessive. It's requiring us to have a bunch of parking that will just simply be unused. It will not be needed, and therefore we're seeking relief from this body to have the 32 spaces that we have on site satisfy the parking requirement that we have pursuant to the code. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I do want to note, just because it's rare for a case of mine, that despite the staff's best efforts, no unfavorable considerations have been identified.
That's the old Shell station, right?
Yes, I believe so. That's been demoed. Yeah.
Remove the Umps and,
The building's built.
it's been
so
removed? Okay,
Yes.
all right,
It's a new strip center.
all right. I haven't been there in a while.
I think you know my question on all
Yes.
these cases. Seems like a perfect case for a little bike rack to get you out of this entire variance process.
So we talked to plan review, we ran the analysis every way we could to avoid seeking the relief here, and the bike rack doesn't change the parking analysis. But we tried.
How is that? Can you just help me understand that?
So I'm not sure. Cindy and I talked, we were on multiple emails going back and forth with the 8th floor, and it just didn't make a difference here. Believe me, we tried to avoid paying the filing fee, as much as Mr. Farha likes spending time with me. This was
Figured.
not his preferred path, but there wasn't a way to do it without this process.
I mean, that's my only hesitation. The only thing that comes to mind is maybe if you maxed it out on landscaping and you get, I think it's 25% concession or something. But other than that, I don't, that's my hesitation. And my general principle, as you know, I think from being here a lot, is if we don't have to grant a variance, then I don't want to grant a variance. And-
Understood. And, if we didn't have to be here, we wouldn't. I mean, we're in this awkward period, I think, and I think you'll probably see more of these, because what the code requires is in direct contradiction to what the comprehensive plan and what the planning policies are asking the city to do. We all know that we're undertaking a new municipal code as it relates to the zoning code specifically. And I think what you're going to see moving forward is you probably won't see parking variances because of that. And so, that third element under the statutes is you've got to prove that there won't be, detrimental harm to the public or impair the purposes of the comprehensive plan. We believe that not only are we not impairing the purposes, but we're actually furthering the purposes of the comprehensive plan by seeking the relief that we seek here today.
I agree. I mean, I think if you're here in a year or however long it takes for the rewrite, you wouldn't need a variance, I wouldn't think, but I mean, that still remains. We are here, and those are the rules that we have right now under the code. So, board members, any questions or comments?
What's the total variance we're talking here?
5.
5?
Okay. Does anyone else, I don't have anyone signed up to speak, but did anyone else want to speak on this application? Okay. Absent that, board members, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll move that we grant the variance request in case number 14811 for the reasons that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance.
A motion and a second to approve the variance request in case number 14811 for the reason that it meets the statutory conditions for a variance. Once you're able to, cast your votes, please. I'm reluctantly voting in favor, and the application is approved.
Thank you.
Item number 2, case number 14813, request of Eric Adams for a variance to accessory building regulations in the RA Rural Agricultural District located at 12509 Teakwood Road.
I'm Eric Adams. I am the applicant asking for a variance for a size of a accessory building on a personal piece of property. That's a piece of property that me and my fiance purchased, making cosmetic changes to the home, upgrading it from previous owner. And we had bought the property with the intention of putting an accessory building outside. I attached notes in here on what the building is going to be used for. Restoring personal automobiles. Me and my son do that. We have a couple of them. It's not a business. It's one of the cars I've had for 25 years. It's not anything of those sorts. Physical fitness equipment. We purchased some equipment we're going to put in there. The whole family had memberships at local gyms. Obviously with COVID, a couple of the gyms got shut down. Some of them opened back up, but we choose not to expose ourselves to that. She does have a horse, so we need some area inside of the building for equine purposes, feed and all the health care and everything that goes along with that. Not to mention the just yard maintenance equipment, stuff like that, weed eaters, lawnmowers and so forth. I know on the lot size, the maximum allowed percentage is 2.5% size of the property. The property is 2.18 acres. I did the math. I think the maximum amount's like 2,374 square feet for an accessory building. The one I'm trying to build is 3,000, so we're a little over 600 feet bigger than what the 2.5%. So anyways, that's pretty much it.
Right. I think you'll get some degree of sympathy here. You've got some car folks here that are sympathetic to folks who work on cars, so.
Right.
For better or worse, that's not in the statute. But, generally wanting, room to work on cars and a space for the horse is not a hardship.
Right.
So that's the point that's the most difficult for me. That's not to say I can't support the application, but that's the one kind of hang up. I think what's in favor of the application is the area that you're in, the land that you have, and then the staff report notes that you've got trees kind of surrounding the area, so it's probably not going to be offensive to your neighbors. So that all works in favor. And board, that's just my kind of general comments. I don't know if you want to comment on that, or we can open up to the board for questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Board members, any questions or comments?
Nobody's protesting on this one?
I didn't see any protests, and I don't have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay. Well, I'm sympathetic to classic cars and resto mods, so I'll move approval. They need a good
Can't hardly
home.
hear you, I'm sorry.
I said I'm sympathetic to a home for classic cars and resto mods, so
Okay.
they need a good home, I'll move approval.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the variance request in case number 14813 for the reason that it meets the statute. For a variance, once you're able to, cast your votes. And it's approved.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Case number 314812, request of Canadian Valley Technology Center for a variance to sign regulations in the AA Agricultural District located at 1701 South Check Hall Road.
Hello, my name is Grant Gallagher. I am the architect for my client, Canadian Valley Technology Center. What we've done here is the Canadian Valley Technology Center had an existing Cowan campus in Yukon, Oklahoma. It was about 55,000 square feet of existing enclosed space. We have since doubled that square footage to 110,000 square feet, kind of making this satellite campus more of an actual main campus for them. It holds all of their healthcare and technology stuff that they're going to be teaching the kids there. So in the process of this remodel and addition, we ran into the application for our marquee sign that the client wanted to build out front of their school. And some of the things that we ran into was it was a little too tall. It was about 3 feet too tall as planned. And then the square footage of the sign, it was marked that it needed to be under 100 square feet or 50 square feet, and we believe it is under that square footage by quite a bit. So basically, I think what we're asking is just a variance to build the sign that they approved, the design sign, having to change it and make costly changes to the sign.
What's adjacent to you, kind of?
So this is the southwest corner of the four-way intersection. On the northwest corner, there is a gas station that has an LED marquee sign up advertising not only prices and sales, but the gas prices. And I would estimate, I haven't measured it, but it's well above 10 feet in the air. And then on the northeast corner is a vacant lot that we believe Atwoods has purchased, and we'll be putting an Atwoods there. And then there's a small strip mall directly to the east of the building that has small businesses and things like that in it.
And what was unique about this property that, one of the conditions you have to meet, it's that it's peculiar to the area. So what's kind of, and it might be the topography here that I'm just not familiar with, but what's unique about this? And primarily what I'm getting at is I don't want all your neighbors to start trying to get, a variance because you got a variance. So if you can establish that yours is unique, that will help your application.
Sure. Well, I think it's unique in the fact that they've allowed a 110,000 square foot education facility on an agriculturally based or zoned piece of property. Right next to the west, directly west to this property, is an elementary school. And so kind of in a large part, the use of this land is not agricultural, and they've kind of fit this building on there. So I think if it was zoned anywhere normal, education facilities were built on that thing, I don't think that we would be even asking for the variance. So I just think it's a product of the school getting a variance in the first place to build their school on the land, and then the zoning kind of never being updated for that.
Makes sense to me. Board members, any questions or comments?
I like what you just said about it being an elementary school adjacent to it, because that'll give the kids the desire to go to your facility, hopefully. So I really.
I know I can hear you. Cindy, can you hear on the, okay, I don't know if the record got your comments, Ms. Asprey, for your microphone. It might be on, it might just need to be
It
closer.
is on.
Yeah, it might just need to be closer.
Oh,
to your
was it
mouth.
me? Can you hear me now, Cindy? Okay, so did you hear me, sir?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Board members, any other questions or comments or a motion? Actually, I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Is there anyone that wanted to speak on this application other than the applicant? Okay, now I think we're ready for a motion.
I would like to move that we accept the application for case number 14813, right? That's the one we're on?
Yeah.
Given the fact that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance.
Oh, sorry, 8-2, I think.
Eight,
It's old on my screen as well. But
oh, okay. Yeah, mine wasn't lit up. 14812?
Okay, yeah,
Thank you. Given the fact that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance.
okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the variance request in case number 14812 for the reason that it meets statutory conditions for a variance. Cast your votes, please. And it's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4, case number 14800, application for a special exception for Brittany Hunt Jassy to allow home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District and UCD Gatewood located at 1900 Northwest 16th Street.
Hi there.
Hello.
I have put in an application in order to seek an exception. This is not our primary home. My husband and I live in Belle Isle.
I feel bad already, but I know the municipal counselor usually gets on to me if I don't get your name and address for the purposes of the record.
Apologies.
Thank you.
Brittany Hunt Jassy. My home address is 5805 North Billen Avenue,
Okay, thank you.
Oklahoma City,
Okay.
73112.
Thanks.
At any rate, this will not be our home. However, we live very close by, and it's my intention to offer this 3-bedroom, 2-bath space for up to 6 people on Airbnb. We have a second building on the property, which has its own address. Cindy and I had some conversation about this. I'll be seeking an exception for that building, hopefully upon completion of a remodel. The contractor for my remodel is also the person who sold me the house and a homeowner neighbor who lives across the street, and he's here and could answer questions, but I think we're gonna be, I'll be back here hopefully to discuss that. Our intention with the property at the end of that, so our long-term plan for the Airbnb is to offer both of these spaces together. The second building we are remodeling to be fully ADA accessible, which is a real gap in the Airbnb market. So this home will be a 1-bedroom, 1-bath studio that will allow for full wheelchair accessibility. At that point, we may also seek to add a temporary, all the home needs to be wheelchair accessible. This home is a temporary ramp or a permanent ramp. So that's the hole we're trying to fill in the Airbnb market with this property, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified. I wasn't 100% sure if the second property was included on this special exception request.
And I wasn't entirely sure how to do it, so luckily we were able to discern that it would make the most sense to go ahead and complete the remodel and then seek an exception for that property separately.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think that helps make this application a little bit easier and more clear. How many home sharing properties do you currently have?
0. This
Okay.
will be my first home sharing property.
Okay. Well, the application is very well done. I'll compliment you on the application.
Thank you.
It's very clear. A lot of them just come in and say, I'd like a special exception, and then we have no idea what.
I'm an
to work
attorney by training who
Okay.
is currently running a small homeschool, so I suppose that
with. Yeah, attention to
put a little
detail.
extra energy into it.
No, it's very well done. So that helps, and that, the application answered a lot of the questions I had, so I don't have too many questions. One question, though, that I do have, I know Mr. Voorhees sometimes likes to have the applicants, whenever they talk about restrictions that they're going to impose on their renters, sometimes incorporating those into the special exception so that it's written in. And I don't know if,
To require those in the
Right.
license, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
In fact, additionally, I spoke with another neighbor, James Sidarius, who lives 2 doors down. He contacted me through Facebook because we're connected in that way, and had a specific question that I was able to get answered this morning about the life of the license, essentially, just wanting to make sure that this is my business, I'll be running, and, it doesn't go with the property. So if that is also an exception or a condition you wanted to include, I'm good with all of that, so appreciate
yeah,
it.
I'm not 100% sure if it does carry with the property of the person, for our purposes and for the city permit purposes, but I don't think we really need to decide that other than just clarifying. It sounds like you probably already have your answer. Similar to that issue, though, how long were you hoping to get the special exception?
I guess I'm not sure about what the options are there. It's
Okay.
our intention to operate this business there indefinitely. We're considering scaling the business, but likely not here in Oklahoma City, but with a series of properties according to the ADA goals, the goals we have to make accessible some
Okay.
properties.
Just for your kind of knowledge, the code requires up to 10 years. We've never
Great.
granted, we've never granted a 10-year special exception just because it's kind of a dynamic, industry, and the code
Sure.
could change and things like that. I think the most we've granted is anywhere from 3 to 5. Sometimes the more controversial areas, we do less than that.
Sure.
So that's kind of the realm of what we're talking about.
I'm sorry to interrupt, I
Sure.
did not mean to. We ran the numbers several times. I do believe that this is an area where this would be a successful option, and I think especially because of what we're trying to offer in terms of accessibility, I really feel strongly that, we all hope our businesses succeed, I suppose, but I think this is filling a gap, so.
Sure.
Could you speak on parking arrangements
Sure.
at the house?
So this is the current parking driveway to the side of the house. This is on Kentucky, south of 16th. Our intention is to expand this driveway enough to be able to put in a slanted disabled spot to the right. We can talk about that, but I think at this point, you can easily fit at least 4 cars in the driveway as it is. The point of expanding the driveway is to make that easier for multiple cars to pull in and not have to juggle.
Okay, would the 4 cars include both Airbnbs? I know one is not in front of us today, but you said it would be.
Yes.
Are they gonna share a drive, or?
They're going to share a drive, yes, and that's why our intention is to make it possible so that if they are separate groups, or frankly, even if it's the same group, they don't have to juggle their cars to park there.
I think that's a great point to raise
Right.
now. I think that,
I know she's asking for, max of 6, 6 in one and
Yeah.
2 in the
it's
other.
a lot of people, potentially a lot of cars. For the purposes of this application.
Sure.
I'm comfortable with the parking situation.
Right, yeah,
I think she's gonna
Yeah.
make sure that it's off-street parking only based on the self kind of imposed condition. But I think it's not.
We'll make sure I can speak to that by the time we come back.
That's what it's good that he raised that now so that you can incorporate it into your plans, because the next application, that's gonna be a much bigger deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm fine with it now as this one stands, but yeah, if we added another one, it would become an issue for sure.
Okay.
That's
Board
all I
members,
got.
any other questions or comments? I don't have anyone signed up to speak, and I haven't received any protest letters. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak on this application? Okay, hearing none, I think we're ready for a motion. Oh, actually, board members, do we have a time frame in mind? I mean, I could do, for this area, it seems like a responsible applicant that's going to take care of the property. We've got the self-imposed conditions. I could think 4 to 5 years, anywhere in there.
I'm fine with 5, either way.
Okay? Sounds like a motion, Mr. Privet? Okay,
To approve a special exception for case number 14800 for a period of 5 years.
and would you include, or do you intend to include the self-imposed conditions in the application?
Right, okay. What were those?
Just
No
the-
no parking on the street and,
Yeah, I mean, I would just say all of them. I think we've done that in the past.
yeah. No street parking.
Okay, just the parking one or all the conditions?
What were the conditions besides the 5 years?
She's, I mean, talked about, she's got, I think, cameras and
Oh, yeah,
motion
well,
detector and all that stuff, just to make sure that that's actually going to be done.
I mean, it's usually required by the companies they rent to, but if it's, I mean, that's a plus.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was something that we required though, does it?
we can, I mean, we can impose any restrictions that we want, so.
Okay, well, she's putting them in then, no harm, no foul then.
Okay, so it sounds like it's for a period of 5 years and includes the conditions stated in the application.
You're right, yeah.
Okay, and then if we have a second,
I'll second.
okay? Got a motion and a second to approve the special exception in case number 14800 for the reason that it meets the statutory conditions for a special exception for a period of 5 years and on the conditions given in the application. Cast your votes when you're able to. And it's approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Item number 5, an application for a special exception for Amber Leonard to allow home sharing short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 505 Northwest 35th Street.
Hello, my name is Amber Leonard. My home address, do I need to state that? Okay, it's 13604 Rock Canyon Road, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73142. And I'm here seeking a special exception for a home share license that is not my primary located at 505 Northwest 35th Street in Oklahoma City in Central Park.
If you could just give us a couple of the kind of overviews. I think the normal questions are how many rooms you intend to offer?
I'm sorry, yes.
How many people? you
It's a
intend-
2-bedroom, 1 bath. My limit would be 4 people. My parking will accommodate 4 cars. It goes past that carport, actually, about 2 car lengths past the carport.
Okay. And then you intend to advertise as off-street parking only?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's-
Absolutely.
In this area in particular.
Yes.
there's So, yeah, not a lot of parking.
Streets are
so-
narrow.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then how long were you looking to get?
Whatever is offered by the board, I would, for 5 years, I suppose.
Okay. Again, I think your application was done really well as well, and it answered a lot of the questions that I would have. I would hope, I mean, again, we can impose any restrictions we want. Sometimes we impose restrictions on how it can be advertised. And I like that you have offered here, no smoking, no parties, no unapproved guests, and off-street parking, things like that. So is it okay to include those things in the special exception?
Yes, please.
Okay. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay. I don't have anyone sign up to speak, and the only people left would be staff that would want to object to your application, which I don't think the staff is going to object. So hearing no objections, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll move approval for 5 years with the conditions that are set in the summary of the application.
Okay.
I'll second. Oh,
Okay.
go Mike. No,
We have-
you're fine.
Sorry,
No,
I
hon.
just clicked it.
We're good.
We have a motion and a second to approve the special exception in case number 14814 for a period of 5 years for the reason that it meets the statutory conditions for special exception, subject to the conditions stated in the application on how it will be advertised. Once you're able to, cast your votes, please. And it's approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that ends the only other case was continued, so we'll move to additional items. Nothing on the agenda for that. Communications and board reports. I have nothing on the agenda for any of those. Citizens to be heard. I don't see any. And that leaves other business. Board members, any other board members or staff, any other business? Okay. Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Good meeting.